Hey, Raindrops. Yes, come through. We got merch. Finally, Carlos King is giving y'all merch. We got Raindrops, allegedly. Come on, allegedly mugs, allegedly t-shirts. We have it all. Make sure you go on carloskingshop.com. That's right, carloskingshop.com. Pick it up, tell a friend, phone a friend, and let's celebrate this all together. Now get into this video and make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and hit what? Yes, the notification button so you don't miss an episode. See ya. What up, Raindrops? Yes, after tonight's finale, of course, some may say I saved the best for last.
or the most boring for last.
No! Russell, you think you're boring?
Hey man, look, hey, I'm with it.
No. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, but especially the ladies. Oh. I don't know if you're on Twitter, but the ladies love you. So instead of LL Cool J, I'm going to now call you LL Cool R. So give it up for Russell Harris. How's it going, Russell?
I'm good. So blessed right now, excited to be in this space, and man, this show, I know you're probably gonna get there, but has changed how I function on a day-to-day. Like,
tell me how.
I mean, like, my wife and I went from, just being in public spaces, being normal, to now, like, we taking pictures, we're getting asked questions about random people, which we love. Like, folks coming up to us like, did you really mean that you were going to break? And I'm like, let me explain. Let me tell you how everything works. So no, it's been really good. And I think even like from the communication piece, right? Like, I'm very cognizant now of what I'm communicating, how I'm communicating, because I didn't know it was that big of a deal. I didn't know it was that big of an issue. So it's been a blessing for sure.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Look, what makes me happy is when one of my stars say, like, look, we are having a good time. We're very blessed to be a part of this. That makes me happy because you know this. I want to make sure that at the end of the day, y'all are in a good place, good mental space, because being on reality television is very, very, very hard. And I don't think people give enough credit to those who do it. So what has been the most challenging for you?
Yeah. For me, having a camera in your face is challenging in and of itself. But then having a microscope or being seen through a glass box, like every step of the way, and having opinions from folks who don't know you, who don't care to know you. Some folks who are just bored, right, and looking to make a name, whatever the case may be. It's been like, that's been challenging, right? Luckily, we've established a strong foundation. So like, others' opinion don't matter at all. But still, it's like, man, everybody got something to say? Like, everybody? Really?
Well, I don't know if people are brave enough, Russell, to say things in front of you, because I thought I was Mr. Beast biceps, but look, compared
to the gym. You've been in, hey, hold on. You've been in the gym, like
no. Okay, Russ. This is look. This looks good. I go front. This looks good.
No, that's good. No,
now look, sure. I'm gonna tell you what I need to work on that you got. So we're gonna do it together. Is it?
Oh yeah, no. That's the secret.
I don't see. Look,
agreement. So it's 3 muscles in the tricep versus 2 in the bicep. A lot of folks think that if you do biceps, you get bigger arms. Well, you do. But if you pay special attention to the tricep, which is 3 muscles, you get big arms. So try whoever your personal trainer is, if they're not telling you that, if they're not showing you that, I was taking notes.
I'm taking notes. Continue, Russell. Superman Harris.
Triceps. You can do grips with the cables, reverse grips, pronated, supinated, over the head, scroll. I mean, there's so many things you can do.
Yes. These, right? All of that. These, yes.
Yep. Elbows these, in.
And then I'll show it everybody.
Yep.
Yes. Absolutely. All of that. And then the seated.
Dips, yeah. So yeah, don't get off the seat. You strong enough to graduate to the dip bar, right? You don't do the seat. That's for support. You don't need that. You're fine.
What do I need, Russ?
Get on the dip bar and do some dips.
Okay, all right. So in 30 days, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you. But I want to talk first before we get into the show. I want to talk first about who you were before the show. So I'm not going to give anything away from next week's part 1 reunion, but something comes out that I thought was hilarious in terms of who Russell was before getting married, being the saved Christian that you are, because you told Brandon, if I wasn't saved, I would break every bone in your body. So before, who are you? BS, not BC, BS before saved. Who was Russell before saved? Because I heard you be in the clubs. I heard you were a ladies' man, a playboy.
Yeah. So just speaking transparently, like I was the type of guy that was trying to be something that I wasn't. I care more about what other people thought about me than I cared about myself, right? So yeah, I was a guy in the club. I was a guy in the club with the VIP section, and nothing against people that do that. That was just it was me doing it just to do it, like just to portray this penthouse apartment, driving a Jag, trying to create this image that it was a waste of time, resources, and energy. I did, I was a bachelor, I dated, but for the most part, I was a bachelor and I didn't have people to check in with. I've always been a family man. Don't get me wrong. Like my family, my mom, my brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, grandparents have always been, nieces, nephews has always been my back, my rock. But I think, I was a young bachelor. As most young bachelors would do, I was out trying to explore the world, see new places, see new things, meet new people, so on and so forth. So
you lived.
I lived. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good to me. It was the bachelor life was good to me. And that's the thing, like when you meet somebody who's like getting you from being in a one space and getting you to see what the next level looks like actually pulling on you to help you and get you to elevate. Like that's how I knew. I was like, all right, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. Like I met Kobe and, transparently speaking, I met her, I was at the low, and she came in and helped me get my life. She held me down in ways that no one had ever held me down before. And once I experienced that, once I saw what she brought to the table, and how much she just loved on me, it's like, okay, we got something here. You got to grow up, bro. You got to grow up. So wow. I grew up and I grew up fast.
That's a beautiful story, because one thing that I know for sure, just speaking with different couples, is truly a man cannot be truly successful if he doesn't have a wife that has helped him in that regard. And every successful man, because I watch a lot of podcasts that are hosted by men, very successful men who are married. All of them, not just one or two, all of them have said that their success is fundamentally due to the wife, to the woman they married, because she let them not only be great, but she helped them be great, whether it's there's peace at home
Yeah.
and I'm able to make sure to do what I got to do, or she may have helped me with certain aspects of the business. So we love that Kobe has made you great again.
Oh man, yeah, no doubt. She helped me grow.
Now, how did you find out about Love and Marriage Detroit, and what made you decide to do the show?
That's a good question. I think we were on vacation. We were in Tulum, Mexico, and Brandon and Christina had hit us up about it. And before that, our friends who chose for whatever reason not to be a part of it had told Kobe about it, and she knew that I probably was going to say no, so she kept it away from me. Right. So when Brandon and Christina brought it up, she told me about it, and I was like, sounds cool for you, not for me. Like I don't know where this would benefit me in any shape or form. Like I don't know if I'll be interested. So then we had a conversation with our friends who chose not to do it. Or I had a conversation with the guy there, and I learned a lot. And then I researched you. I had to go and do some recon, understand who you were, what you were doing, had some conversations with some of my friends, and was able to learn a little bit about your history, specifically here in the city of Detroit.
Okay, was it good, Russell?
It was good. I wouldn't have done it. I would not, honestly. I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't. So
let y'all know, see haters. Go ahead, Russ.
Yeah. No, I learned a lot about you, and just in conversations after we had our interview with you and the production team, I was like, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. And so we made a decision that day, and it's been good ever since.
Did you know about Huntsville?
No, I'd never watched. I don't really watch TV, right? So when Kobe brought it to my attention, I was like, oh, that's cool. She's like, yeah, there's a Huntsville. Oh, that's cool. And this sounds bad, but I haven't watched I watched DC. I watched a few episodes of DC, but I haven't had the time to sit down and just watch Huntsville.
You're a busy man.
How many seasons?
Like 6.
Yeah, congratulations. See,
thank you.
So I probably should have so I can learn more about it, but I just went in deep in.
No, listen, no. I always tell people this. I like it when people haven't watched, like, for example, in this case, Huntsville. Because I never want people to think like, oh, well, that's what they want. It's like, no, Huntsville's Huntsville, DC is DC, and Detroit's Detroit. And what you and Kobe bring to the show is really fabulous and fantastic. And I'm so happy you two said yes. When you guys started filming, one of the things that I knew we were onto something was Brandon and Christina's anniversary.
Oh, God.
Which was the first episode.
Oh.
And you definitely brought the guns to the gun show, brother. So and what people may not know, I was actually there, guys. I was in Detroit. I was at that scene in the background, and I met everybody that day, and we were just shooting and filming, whatever. And that's the moment I knew, like, oh, this cast is good because I love a show, an ensemble show, where everybody is involved in some way. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just, oh, this is the girl's issue, or this is this person that. It was like everybody has something involved in it.
Oh, yeah.
That scene where your wife mentioned that Brandon had an artist at Brandon and Christina's anniversary lavender picnic.
Oh.
The best shot, Russell, is when she said, Russell told me, and your eyes did this. I'm like, wait, what's happening? So I never asked you this. In that moment, what went through your mind? Because you look surprised.
Oh. Yeah, no, so when she said it, and the way she said it, when she said, "Yeah, Russell, Russell told me about your new artist." In my mind, I replayed the entire conversation I had with Brandon, and I'm like, "All right, close your mouth, girl. Close your mouth. Come on, help me, please. Close your mouth." And yeah. I was pleasantly surprised that she was, it was innocent. She wasn't, trying to
Right.
disrupt their anniversary. But I told her, I'm like, the timing of this was just terrible. Just terrible. And I still apologize, to Brandon. Like, look, bro, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
When did you know this show was going to be a hit? Was there? Because I knew that day. I said, "Oh, we
Listen,
got something. We got something like this." Because I knew that they're all connected. Because the audience likes when the cast of an ensemble show they're all connected. So that's
yeah.
when I knew. When did you know?
Yeah.
Or did you ever know?
Yeah. Honestly, so I've never been through anything like this. So I knew that all of us together we were going to produce something great. Like I knew that from the jump. Like we knew that. But after seeing it, I looked at the first episode and I'm at home like, oh God, like, oh man. I was like, oh yeah, we own something here. Like I couldn't wait to watch. I'm like, why do I have to wait to watch the next episode? Like really me? Like, come on. Can y'all help me out here? I knew then was yeah, like this is a bang. This is good.
I know that's the one thing about cats is like, we gotta watch the show along with everybody
Oh,
else. I'm like, look, I don't make the rules. Like,
I
I
get
follow
it.
the rules. I don't make all of them, child. So
Yeah,
I know that's a lot for everybody. Then we saw the Kobe cat incident
yeah,
at bowling.
mm,
You were visibly upset.
yeah,
Rightfully so, because this is your wife dealing with a situation that your male friend set in
yeah.
her direction. When you were in that moment, hearing your wife being called a Kobe cat, did you? Because again, I don't know what it's like to be in a situation to where I have to defend my partner
Yeah.
against somebody else. So were the veins popping out the bicep, went through the neck,
Like, oh,
into the forehead, and were you ready? Like, was your instinct like to, get the fist going?
yeah. It's funny. Like before that whole thing went down, I just found out that my grandmother had passed. So so Brandon and Anthony, I was boo-hooing over in the corner, and they were like consoling me and everything. Um, and then I heard my wife's voice high pitched in the corner of my ear. I'm like, what's going on over there? So we went over there because she's never yelling. So like, what's going on here? And my expectation of a man in any situation is first to de-escalate, especially when it's not between two men. Like, let's figure out what's going on. Let's de-escalate the situation. Let's bring some resolve to the situation. If we can't do it in the moment, let's do it later. And I felt that he was adding like wind to the fire here. I'm like, bruh, like, I expect a little bit more from you in this case. I expect you, A, you knew that this was a situation, so you should have come to me like, hey, this is what's going on. And then for you to say what you said, if you said it to me, it would have been different. It would have rolled off but you said it to my wife. And I never take disrespect, specifically to my wife I don't care who it is. I don't take it light. And I felt like that was disrespectful. I think the timing of it, right, was disrespectful. I think the tone of it was disrespectful, and I think that it could have all been, it could have all been handled differently had we had a different conversation. So he's since apologized. I was upset though. I had to walk away. I had to walk away because I did feel like in that moment it was happening because we had cameras there. Like that's what really messed me up. Like, come on. Like we
But you
talk.
thought he was showing off for the instead of the gram for the
For the
camera.
cam. Yeah, I'm like, come on, man. We talk. Like, what's the deal? Like, you could have easily said, hey, bro, what's going on here? Like, this is what I'm noticing. And I felt the same thing, for his wife. Like, could easily hit up Kobe. Like, this is what's going on. Like, but in the moment, it seemed a lot like they were just trying to do something for the camera. And that's what I didn't like, personally. So that's what got me really upset. So, it is what it is now. We've learned, we've moved on.
Well, I definitely think Brandon learned his lesson because when he walked in with his shirt plastered with Christina's face all over it, how did you not laugh at that? Like, Russell, the moment I saw, I screamed at the laptop.
No, in my mind, I knew that I was going to have the conversation with him. So I wasn't really thinking about I saw it, but I wasn't really thinking about the shirt. I was thinking about him and the conversation that needed to be had. Once I sat back and I watched season, the episode 2, and I saw it, I was like, oh my God, what is this dude doing? In that situation, I kind of felt like there was a little bit of Will Smith and Jada happening, right? Where he needed to, you know what I'm saying? He needed to step up and show, So I probably would have done it too. And there's not, no shade. I just think that.
I know, I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, listen.
He needed to wear the shirt. If I was in the doghouse, I probably would have had a shirt on too.
No, the Will and Jada thing was a good analogy. That's why I'm like, I never looked at it that way. I think you're right. If I'm in the doghouse and my partner feels like you don't defend me, I at least have to present in a big way. Listen, absolutely. I may not be like Willen, right? Or in this case, Bam. I may not do that because he knows with Russell, I'm going to lose in this situation, more than likely. So in Brandon's mind, he was probably like, look, everybody likes a joke. Let me come in, diffuse the tension.
It was brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, no, it really was. But I never looked at it that way until you said it. So that's very true.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that the fans have talked about when it comes to the show is how the men don't communicate with their wives. And a lot of people say it's Brandon first, then it's you. In terms of the lack of communication with their wives. You have been seen on the show as this nice guy, this good dad, but you make decisions without consulting your wife, whether it's being a chaplain or really making deals to open up this gym. Is that something that you look at now and you say, you know what? I could have handled that differently.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think, so not talking about anybody else's relationship, like other people got more years in it. What people need to understand is at the time we were in year 3, right, of being married, like full on, like locked in. Before that, I had decades of not having to communicate anything, right? Anything to anyone. So, I think it was, it took some it's not done. I'm still learning about communicating. But it's taken some getting used to. I come from a situation where it wasn't something that was demonstrated to me, all the time. While I did have great role models in terms of folks who had great relationships, communication, I never saw it happen the way that my wife is expecting for it to happen. So I'm learning, looking back at the show, I see where I could have communicated more. I definitely, in terms of like the gym, financial decisions, things like that, we could have sat down and had a conversation. And I will say, since the show has aired, we've sat down, on a weekly basis. We sit down and we have this huddle where we talk about like the things from finances to our agenda for the week to what we're eating. Like we do that type of communication now, which I started, by the way. So make sure y'all give me my credit. So yeah, yeah. It taught me. I had to see it because unless you see it, you might hear it, but it only sounds like noise, unfortunately. But once you see it, especially as a man, once you see it, you're like, oh yeah, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I admit that I was wrong. I could have communicated these things better. And the whole chaplaincy thing, honestly, I thought that my wife was going to do a backflip. I thought she would have been super excited. Like, I didn't think it was a big deal for me not to say, hey, babe, I'm in school. You live and you learn. Make sure you tell men, make sure you tell your wives when you sign up for school. Communicate.
Yes, in the words of Kobe, communicate. Yes, yes. So explain, because a lot of people thought, is he trying to be a pastor? Is he? So I want them to understand that you want to be a chaplain and exactly what that means for you.
Yeah. So I've been in the military for 5 years now, and I'm transitioning my role from being an engineer in the military to being a chaplain in the military. A chaplain in the military is someone that not only leads praise and worship, leads services, but there's a slew of other responsibilities, everything from officiating weddings and funerals to counseling soldiers. And that role fits better with my experience. So in order to be an Army chaplain, you have to have a master's in divinity, in which I am in the final stages of securing mine. So yeah. Now, if the Lord says, hey, I want you to lead a church, Toby and we'll have a discussion on how this whole first lady thing will go for her, and we'll go that way.
One thing I want to ask is, where did your love of God come from? Because, I'm somebody who loves God and I talk about God and I do my Happy Sunday post. And every conversation,
those are fire, by the way. Those are
thank you.
Heat. You gotta, hey, the illustrations, everything. I like it. Yeah.
Thank you, man. Yeah. Thank you, Ross. Okay, I appreciate that. No, thank you. And it comes from a sincere place. Yeah. My love for God happened when I was a kid, just being taught by my grandmothers about this mysterious man. I'm a 5-year-old. They're like, look up. I'm like, is God in the ceiling? Like, is he high? They're like, who's this man you keep talking about? So yeah. I've always been curious. And then as life happens and you go through some very unfortunate situations, my love for God increased. Mm-hmm. And I know for a fact that I could have been a very different person if it wasn't for God having grace and mercy on my life and my soul. And yes. I know where my blessings come from. So that also heightened my love for God. Did anything happen to you to where your love for God is where it's at today?
Yeah. So first of all, my mom had us in church 6 days a week growing up. And I used to be like, Mom, it takes this much to be a Christian. I'm good. Like, this is crazy. But what she was doing was showing us, how God works, and the significance of having a relationship with Christ. And although it took me some time to really understand that, while we were in church 6 days a week, we were homeless. We were there were things that were happening that only the Lord brought us through, and I'd sit back and look at my mom, and she worked 3 jobs, right, to make ends meet just so we can have lunch money. Like, how are we doing? How is this happening? And it was her response always was, it's the Lord. I would watch her on her face praying every night. And it didn't make sense to me then. But as I got older, okay, I see what's going on here. And even as an adult, right? So after my father passed away, my sophomore year of college, I thought my world was over. And I remember sitting and having a conversation with the Lord. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. It's a lot of responsibility of being the next person up in my family. But Lord, I need you. And when I say the sense of calm and peace that came over me, it was just like he told me, "I got you," and ever since then, I felt it. So it's a walk. There's new mercy every day, new grace every day, and as long as you're pursuing that life that God would want you to live, and you're following, you're trying your best. A lot of people, they think that you're supposed to get your Bible 5 hours a day and be praying for 10 hours. Like
Yes, right.
these far right religious folks, you know what I'm saying? Like these folks who are just like, it's the only. That's not you're scaring people. You know, you're leading people away from Christ, and it's our job to lead them to Christ, right?
Yes.
So I started off with just reading the Bible verse every day, to actually reading the Bible every day, to having 1 5-minute conversation, to being able to pray along. Like you start somewhere with anything, and it gets to a point with any relationship. So all that to say, it started off with my mom. She was a praying person. She was a praying mama, and she made sure that we had everything we needed.
I love that. I love that. In tonight's finale, we finally got a chance to see the showcase. The much talked about showcase. We saw the man's movement last week, right?
Yeah.
And what Brandon called the mint. He said there wasn't much moving. It was a mint. Thank you, Brandon. So tonight we saw the showcase. And obviously everybody was there. What were your thoughts on the showcase we saw tonight?
Yeah. No, I think anytime we can show what's happening in Detroit, we can show people how, first of all, we show how people go through things, like a real life timeline of disagreements, like distrust, like, and then be at this culminating event. I think it was powerful. While I wasn't really like, I hadn't been in the club. I hadn't been in the club in so long, so I wasn't that comfortable, and there was a lot of elements around that I wasn't really comfortable with. So it might
Let's
have
talk
seemed
about
like,
that because we saw you exit stage left, pun intended.
oh,
Is
yeah.
it so? Listen, one thing I know about the Bible verse is temptation. Was it temptation? Was it the uncomfortableness? What was it that triggered you to be like, I don't want to be around this? Because you did
Yeah,
step away.
yeah, I think so. To each his own, right? Like, I'm not condemning what people do. Like, people do what they do. For me personally, though, I think like the spirit of just conviction around like what it used to be like for me. Like it's like you going back to an old way, an old environment, and then you're reliving. You're thinking about all of those, and it's not healthy. It wasn't healthy for me, right? So I'm reliving those moments out. I'm remembering when I was in the VIP booth, probably having a bottle or whatever, taking it from the top. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm remembering those things, and it wasn't comfortable for me. And I had to be there because I had to show up for my brothers, which was important to me, and it was important for them to see that no matter what I was going through personally, I would be there. But that's exactly what I was going through. That's what was going through my head, like those things that used to be. And in the Bible, it talks about that. Like, be careful of the environment and the situations that you place yourself in, because temptation is real. And what will happen is you'll be tempted and you don't even know you're tempted. But later on, you're feeling the type where you're moving a certain way. Like, where did this come from? It stemmed at that. So the beautiful thing is also he always prepares a way out, and I had a way out. So I exited stage left and got out of there.
So do you drink, smoke, or anything?
I do not know. I've been sober for some years now. So I don't drink, I don't smoke. And that's just me. I choose to be of sober mind because I got so much stuff going on. Like I can't imagine what it'll be like not being sober right now. So
No, I'm the same way. I don't drink or smoke either.
yeah, I can't. I used to. Have you ever drank?
No. I used to. Well, never smoke. I used to drink. I haven't drank in years, like
Yeah.
years. Because of what you said, and this is what I find so fascinating about not drinking. And again, I don't. People around me drink. My partner drink. Like I could
Yeah.
be around it. I don't. Whatever. So
Yeah.
again, I'm with you. Do your. I don't do you.
Yeah.
But what I will say is this, and just like I talked about earlier, how successful men who said this, successful men saying a wife by their side, the right wife, helped them grow into being successful. When I talk to successful people, not just men, women, they, when I talk to successful people or when I watch interviews, a lot of them say how they don't drink anymore. And they said that being sober allowed them to be more focused. It allowed them to have their frequency heightened to where you're much more aware of your surroundings and they're much more successful because of that. I've heard this from CEOs to rappers to people in the industry, or I've heard this from everybody who decided not to drink, who said the same thing you're saying, and I will agree with you. It's what people don't know is this. To be in the position that we're in, there is nothing like waking up in the morning with no hangover.
Right.
Being fully alert.
Yeah.
Having all this energy. Yeah. Being aware of your surroundings, getting so much done in the day. Yeah. And look, I'm not advocating for people not to, but what I will say is if there is something in you that is saying, I don't like this, or I don't like how I feel with the after effects, I will say this on the record. If you do decide not to, I'm telling you, you're going to awaken something in your body that is very spiritual. And listen.
Yeah.
In my experience, God is going to reward you greatly.
No doubt. I wholeheartily agree. Yeah. No, there's something I have a 2-year-old. I can't afford to wake up hungover. My daughter comes 6:30, 7 a.m. She's jumping in my bed like, Dad, let's go. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I just, and running multiple companies, it's like I can't. It doesn't make sense for me. And I think, again, nothing wrong with folks that do. If you do it, great. If it works for you, great. But for me, like when I was a child, I acted like a child. As I became a man, I put away those childish things. And for me personally, I wasn't responsible enough with the drinking. So I said, this is immature. This is not responsible. It's childish. Put it away. Now put it away. So.
Look at that. All right, listen, this is good. I'm going to have to get you on my Happy Sunday post, brother, because you've been dropping gems this whole interview.
Let's do it. I'd love that.
I love it. So next week, Russ, we got part 1 reunion out of 2 parts. Part 1 airs next week. Without giving anything away.
Yeah.
Let the fans know what they can expect from 2-part reunion beginning next Saturday.
Y'all listen. As y'all know, the King, Carlos, he likes to ask the right questions. Like he knew how to ask the questions, when to ask the questions. And let me tell y'all, you're going to see a roller coaster. High, low, high. I mean, like there's raw emotion, raw, and it's liberating. You'll see, you'll feel it. And hopefully once you see it, you'll understand everything I'm talking about. But it was good. I enjoyed it. It was a long process, and it's going to just bring everything together. I'm excited.
Yes. Now listen, you took the words out of my mouth. That's everything I would say. It's full of surprises. It's a roller coaster, and it's just good. It's really good. It's really good. So y'all catch that next Saturday, 8:00 7 Central on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Russell Harris, I just want to thank you so much for agreeing to do the show, because I know this. Anytime I do a show that involves couples, I can always get the wife to say yes. The husbands, I'll be like, please come. Like it's hard to get the husbands to agree. But when they do, I don't take it for granted. So I just want to say thank you for that. Love and Match
Appreciate it.
Detroit exceeded my expectations. It's a great show. You three couples are super fantastic to watch. It's the relationships, it's the friendships, it's the connections. And I just can't wait for people to see more of it. And once again, man, I appreciate you for doing the show.
Love and respect. I appreciate you. I appreciate the opportunity. Looking forward to the finale and the reunion. Also looking forward to season 2. Tell us about that. Why don't you tell
Well,
us about
what you say? Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Listen, I will say this. Listen, to be the third installment of the franchise ain't easy because you got Huntsville to compare to, you got
No,
DC. All I'll say is you guys are doing really well.
appreciate you.
Y'all are doing
Good.
really, really well. But let the world know, Russell, they can find you, follow you, support you and your businesses and everything else.
Absolutely. Social media is Russell L. Harris Jr. That's on Instagram. Don't really use Twitter. I don't even know what my Twitter handle is. So that's that. But
They
I'm
off
also,
Twitter. Good. Don't use Twitter.
yeah. And I think we, the culture, we just shifted over to something else anyway, right?
Oh, Threads. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we on something else anyway. So hey, if you're still on Twitter, learn about what's coming up. And then in terms of professional networks, I'm on LinkedIn, Russell Harris Jr. SoarDetroit.com is the nonprofit. Also, WarriorAcademy.org is the boys boarding school. There's so many things coming up. Just stay tuned. You'll see it all there.
Who knows? You may see it next season. All right, Russell. I appreciate you, brother.